Back in spring 2020, we shared our 5-part series restoring the Alton Towers Bookworm. This was a large animatronic that was located within the Storybookland themed area of Alton Towers between 1996 and 2013. In the series, we explained all about how I acquired the bookworm and of course ended up with it as part of my theme park collection. It then took many years until the restoration work took place, mainly due to time commitments and how much work needed to be done. This was something that we successfully completed in spring 2020. However, once the work was complete, we then needed somewhere to actually put the Alton Towers Bookworm. Instead of having him outside, we wanted to make sure that he would be indoors and undercover. However, there was a problem. The world of theme parks, aka the shed inside my garden, wasn't quite big enough to actually hold the bookworm with his full body and with the head and also hat in place as well. So we decided, as we were back into another lockdown, to use the time wisely and dig a hole for the bookworm to sit into inside the world of theme parks. And in this video, you're going to see that hole actually coming together. So bit of a different video for us here on Theme Park Worldwide, but why not? So let's talk about the process. Now, like I say, we needed to make sure that we did this so we would actually be able to lower him down to fit inside the world of theme parks. So me and my wonderful dad were back on the project. The first job was cutting the vinyl out, of course the vinyl flooring inside the world of theme parks. Then Dad got his circular saw, as you can see here. Started to cut round the area that we're going to be taking out part of the flooring of. Now, of course, we've got to make sure when we were doing this that the floor was going to stay secure around the edge. This was quite a big hole that we were digging, and you might be looking at this now and thinking, why are we taking up such a large area when actually the base of the bookworm is more square instead of rectangle like this? Well, the reason is because we actually decided to build a ramp to make access much easier to get the bookworm in and out. So that is exactly why we went for a longer, more rectangle sort of section to cut out, as you're going to be able to see over the next couple of minutes. So yeah, once we've used the circular saw to actually cut the flooring out, that was all taken outside, and then of course we had the area where it was going to be. I then started to use a small little shovel to actually move around the brickwork. Now, we've got bricks as the foundations for the world of theme parks, aka the shed in my garden. So yeah, what we started to do was actually move them bricks underneath the supports to make sure that the floor would still stay secure around the side. Dad then got the circular saw back in action, as you can see, to cut these strengthener beams that run down the middle that were previously holding the floor. Of course, we needed to remove those beams to make sure that we had the space to dig the hole for the bookworm to sit in. And of course, as you can see there, we cut it off along the edge because we'd already moved the bricks further underneath. It meant that we were all good and yeah, ready to start digging out the ground. So there you go. You can see I'm very happy there to start doing the work. And here we go. So at this point, we weren't fully sure how much we were going to have to dig down. We had measured it and we thought it was going to be, you know, around 2 feet, so quite a big hole. However, we then worked out, of course, once the head was actually screwed into position inside the body, that the metal sort of framework for that lowered into it a bit further than we thought, meaning that the hole didn't have to be quite as large as what we were originally planning for this one. But as you can see, I then started digging and putting it all into the wheelbarrow and taking it out of the world of theme parks. This is footage I bet you never thought you'd see on Theme Park Worldwide. Me doing a bit of hard graft there, which did take quite a while. Took about 3 hours actually to dig this hole out. It's actually about 1 foot deep, so it's not anywhere near as big as what we initially thought. Now, of course, you might still be thinking at this point, hang on a moment, if we're putting the bookworm down into this, there's going to be damp issues, water could leak in, there's going to be soil around the bottom of it. Well, that isn't the case. We actually do start to watertight this soon and also board it out, which you'll see shortly. But first, I wasn't there yet. I needed to keep digging down. The area where I'm standing there, and the deeper part of the hole, is where the actual bookworm was going to stand. And then, of course, we were then going to dig it out as a slope going down to that level, from the kind of level of the pathway that the shed was built on. And then, of course, it'll run down into there. So that was all because of access and making it easier. You can see here, whilst I was digging the hole, Dad was already outside making the wooden boards out of some old shelving actually that I used to keep all my mugs on at the World of Theme Park. So a bit of recycling there. And yeah, as you can see, And we used all them wooden boards around the side. They're not fastened in at this point because, like I say, we need to make sure that we make this weatherproof and watertight. So we just put them around the side, the back panels in there as well, just to make sure that this was all, you know, right around the side and stop the soil coming through and keep it watertight and protected. But we actually fastened them into place after we've done the flooring just here. So that's the floor panel. Again, I carried on digging out and doing the slope inside the World of Theme Parks. Dad was making the floor panel, just recycling really bits of wood that we've got. It was, you know, it didn't cost a penny to do this project and dig it down. Of course, you know, it was hundreds of pounds for the restoration of the bookworm, but to actually dig this hole for it was nice and easy really, and didn't cost anything. At this point, we then put the floor in just to make sure that everything was going to be okay, and that was the height that we needed. So we then took all of the boarding back out again, and then got some tarpaulin here and also some sealer as well to fill all the gaps in to make sure that this was going to be nice and watertight. We actually put the tarpaulin down, then used nails to fasten that to the existing flooring. There was actually more than one layer. There was actually 3 layers of tarpaulin that were all put on top of each other to add protection. Then we put the wooden boards in, as you can see here. And then we actually added sealer around all of the gaps around the side just to keep it nice and watertight and protected. The good thing is when we were digging down, we didn't encounter any water or anything like that, so that was a good sign. Of course, if we had done, we'd have needed to make sure it was extra tight in terms of making sure it was watertight. But yeah, we're absolutely fine. Luckily, where the World of Theme Parks is, there's all decking and other areas blocked in around it, paved over, so it means that the dry really, the ground stays really dry actually all the way around the World of Theme Parks. As you saw just, we then lowered him backwards down there into position and fit in perfectly just how we wanted. But of course we still need to make sure that we'd left enough room for the head. The head is actually even heavier than the whole of the body, because during the restoration we actually took quite a lot of the weight from outside of the body with the metal chassis and built a wooden one instead to make it easier to move. It means that the head is actually a lot heavier, so it took 3 of us to lift it in. There's Mum helping as well. Just to get it into position. And then of course Dad put the 3 different bolts in that fasten that from the head down into the main body itself. The next day then, just to finish off the project, I mean that was a full day project up to there. The next day it was all about just finishing this off, so adding some more sealer to protect, then putting some of this duct tape just into place around the edges, and then this another panel that was made using the flooring that we originally cut out, and that's a panel to cover over. So obviously the ramp is underneath there. And then yeah, that's also a little bit of storage, so you can see the wooden kind of crossover on the side that the head was fastened to keep it straight. That can be under there and in storage ready for when it gets moved again, and obviously that also means that I can walk nice and freely in front of it. And as you can see there, you can't really tell that much other than a couple of gaps where we've cut the vinyl flooring at the side, and that is all. And of course at some point I'll probably put some maybe some grass or some decor down in the hole itself just to kind of make it look even better. But there you go. If you haven't already, check out our 5-part series that we put on last spring, restoring the Alton Towers Bookworm. You can see all that restoration taking place, and this is kind of just to finish it off really and show it in its new permanent place inside the World of Theme Parks. Thanks for watching, and that leaves me with one more thing to say: get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.